Should you buy an iPad Air or should you get an iPad Pro? Well, that's a tough question to answer because Apple released the M2 iPad Air and the M4 iPad Pro this Tuesday. And which iPad should you get? Which configuration of which iPad should you buy? I know these are all tough answers, but in today's video, I will try to help you out. So, yes, should you even upgrade to the new iPads? Let's talk about it. I own a 2018 iPad Pro, and this year I'm going to upgrade for the M4 iPad Pro. But I know it's different for everyone. I know there are some people that will be happy with the new M2 iPad Air, and I know there are some people that are happy to upgrade for the M4 iPad Pro, 13-inch, completely spec'd out. So, which device is for you? Which are the differences between the iPad Air and the iPad Pro? And of course, which one should you buy? Which one are the better value? And yeah, do not forget to back down below, subscribe to the channel. Of course, it's a tough video, but let's do it. Just like I said in my recap video, the 2024 M2 iPad Air is almost like a refurbished 2018 iPad Pro. Exactly the same design, exactly the same sizes, 11 and 13 inches, and exactly the same display. The only difference is 120 Hz. That's it. Other than that, it's the same display, the same chassis, the same camera design, the same thickness, the same port, USB-C, the same speaker system, the same microphone system, everything is the same. While the M4 iPad Pro is much more different. Although this is the same line generation, the iPad Pro lineup, the newer generation iPad Pro is even thinner than this iPad Pro. This is 6.1 millimeters thick, while the newer generation is 5.1 millimeters thick. Ridiculous. 1 millimeter thinner, which is insane. It will feel like a sheet of paper in my hands. And of course, that iPad, just like the 2018 version, only features one camera, just like the M2 iPad Air. Both iPads, they feature about the same design. The 2018 iPad Pro is about the same iPad as the 2024 M2 iPad Air, so they share the same platform. The M2 iPad Air is definitely a refurbished version of the 2018 iPad Pro, both size included, because the 2018 iPad Pro featured an 11-inch and a 13-inch size. Now, the 13-inch M2 iPad Air is come out, and so now we have two sizes for the iPad Air, the 11-inch and the 13-inch. This is very exciting for those people that want a big iPad with a big screen, but they don't want to waste any more than like $800 on it. So now you can get a 2024 M2 iPad Air with 13 inches at $800, which is very good. Of course, the base model starts at $599 or $600. Great price for entry model for the M2 iPad Air. Both devices start at 128 gigabytes of storage, double the storage as last year, which was 64 gigabytes. So now, I think the base models are actually a very good deal. If you want a simple iPad to do simple iPad stuff, use your Apple Pencil to take notes, you don't really care about 120 Hz, then the M2 iPad Air is a great choice. And this device, well, the differences between the M2 iPad Air and the M4 iPad Pro in terms of hardware are very simple. The M4 iPad Pro features Face ID, the M4 iPad Pro features the new Tantum display, or OLED displays basically, and yeah, it features also the better speaker system, a better microphone, better camera system, better memory, better RAM, and yeah, I have the spec list right here. Also features a better chip with the M4 chip, features the nano texture display, features the XDR brightness of 1000 nits full screen brightness and 600 nits peak brightness. Does feature a nano texture display option if you want to. Does feature a better CPU, obviously the M4, but I will talk about that a bit later. Features better camera systems, features Thunderbolt port, and of course the new support for the new Magic Keyboard. So yes, lots of things are actually new on the M4 iPad Pro when compared to the iPad Air, but if you want a simple iPad, an iPad that just works, does iPad stuff, and it's really good with the Apple Pencil, and it does support the Apple Pencil, then the iPad Air, it's great. It does support the new Apple Pencil Pro that Apple released, so if you want to use the new Apple Pencil Pro and all of its new technologies, you don't need to buy the iPad Pro. You just simply buy the Apple Pencil Pro, and of course, you use an iPad Air. This is really good because the iPad Air, starting at $600 plus $130 for the Apple Pencil Pro, for only like $730, you can get a great iPad system with 11 inches, the M2 chip, the other Apple Pencil technology. You get the old iPad 2018 design. This old iPad 2018 design is great, super thin still, like 6.1 millimeters thin. And oh, one thing, Everyone is saying that the iPad Pro is super light, and it is, which is actually funny because the iPad Pro right now is lighter than the iPad Air, but the difference is not that big. The iPad Air weighs at 462 grams for the 11-inch model, while the iPad Pro weighs at 404 grams. So it's like 444 grams against 462 grams. That's less than, it's like 18 grams of a difference. Not that much. 18 grams you cannot distinguish between one iPad to the other. The difference is maybe half of millimeter thickness, and that's it. If you don't really care about anything else, the OLED display, the Thunderbolt port, and of course the new Magic Keyboard support, then getting the new generation iPad Air, which is exactly this design, with this camera system, with USB-C, with the new Apple Pencil, with the camera placement being also on the horizontal position, there's no better deal than, of course, the 2024 iPad Air with the M2 chip. Be careful though, that device does not feature 120 Hz. And if that's something that you really like to use with your Apple Pencil, because there's a lot of people that like to use their Apple Pencil with 120 Hz on their old iPad Pro models, if you are going to upgrade for the iPad Air, be very, very careful. But now let's talk about the big iPad Pro features that the iPad Air does not get. The main differences about the iPad Air, of course, and the newer generation iPad Pros is the thickness and the OLED display. The OLED display is huge because now you'll get super bright OLED displays with high contrast ratios, incredible colors, and color reproduction is unmatched. Of course, the blacks will be even blacker, and I think that people underestimate how good OLED displays really are. Because if you compare OLED displays to mini LED, you can notice the difference. But if you compare OLED displays to the old LCD displays present on the old generation iPad Pros, like this 2018 iPad Pro, or now on the M2 iPad Air, exactly the same display as this 2018 iPad Pro, 600 nits, peak brightness, SDR display, it's an LCD, P3 color gamut. While the new generation Titanium OLED displays are great. They have peak brightness of full screen at 1000 nits and full HDR peak brightness at 1600 nits, which is insane. They are more than double as bright, and they are faster with 120 Hz. They are smoother, they are better. They have better contrast ratios, they have better color reproduction. So if you do really like to watch movies, you really like to edit your photos or videos and color grade on your iPad, then I think going for the iPad Pro is the option for you. Because even if you are just a designer, a 3D designer or a drawer, all of the colors will pop more. All of the colors will look even more realistic, and all the displays are something that I really enjoy. One of the reasons that I will upgrade this year for the M4 iPad Pro. I think it will make a huge difference. Also, the new design is great. The new camera system, they removed the ultra-wide camera, so now they both feature 12 megapixel back camera, but the iPad Pro has the LiDAR sensor, so better reproduction for everything in terms of bokeh, and of course, let's feature the ambient light sensor on the back. So, I don't know what it's for, but I do believe it will be for better scanner reproduction in terms of AI technologies with the camera. I think it will be very important for the future of AI on the iPad. So let's wait and see for WWDC. But also, the new iPad Pro features much better cooling than the iPad Air. So, with the thinner body and the M4 chip, I do believe that the iPad Pro will be more efficient than the iPad Air. About the same battery life, but a much smaller cell size. So, actually incredible. If you want a very high performance iPad, if you want something that can deliver extreme efficiency while being super powerful, the iPad Pro will be the answer for you. Because it's super portable, super thin, and can still manage to kill almost any computer out there because it's so fast. Of course, you need to be very careful because the iPad Pro comes in several versions. It's the 11-inch and the 13-inch, just like the iPad Air, but the differences on the iPad Pro are more because you have different tiers of storage. 256, 512, 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes. And the full-fat M4 chip is only present on the 1 and 2 terabyte version. If you buy the 512 or even the 256 gigabyte version, you get a slower iPad and you also get half the RAM. Instead of having 16 gigabytes of RAM, you get 8 gigabytes of RAM. If that's something very important for you, then you will have to opt out for the 1 terabyte of storage. But be very careful because the price jump is actually very significant, around $500. So yes, between the 512 gigabytes of storage and the 1 terabyte, you get double the storage, you get a full-fat M4 chip, you get double the RAM. All of that for $500. So be very careful when speccing out your iPad Pro. If you want the most powerful one, you'll have to go for the 1 terabyte version. If you are okay with the non-bent M4, which most people will, and if you are okay with having half the RAM, which also most people will, then of course, buy the 256 or 512. The difference is about $100 to $150. You will be okay. On the other hand, the iPad Air does not feature this problem. The iPad Air features the same chip, the same M2 chip, in all of the storage configurations. So if you go for the 128, which is the base model, and I do recommend that, if you go for the 512 or 256 or the 1TB version, you'll have no issues. All of them come with the M2 chip, the full-fat M2 chip, and the same 8GB of RAM. If you actually consider, the big differences between the iPad Air and the iPad Pro, for almost double the money, are just OLED displays and the M4 chip, and Thunderbolt if you consider that. Other than that, the support for the Apple Pencil Pro, they are all the same. One thing though, you need to be very careful because the M4 iPad Pro is the only iPad that supports the new Magic Keyboard. So if you do like the new Magic Keyboard, you will have to choose the iPad Pro. You can't go for the iPad Air because the iPad Air only supports the old Magic Keyboard. And the big difference is they cost the same, or at least $50 more, which is quite sad because the new Magic Keyboard is much better. It has an aluminum top case, it has the function row, and yes, it still features that weird fabric on the back, but it does feature the aluminum palm rest, and the haptic touch trackpad is a bit bigger and better. So yes, the new Magic Keyboard is better, it's improved, but it's only present on the iPad Pro. Of course, if you want to use the Apple Pencil Pro, like I told you before, it's available in both models. One thing you need to be very careful though, if you are coming from old iPads, your old Apple Pencil 2nd generation won't work with either of these iPads. It won't work with the M2 iPad Air, neither with the M4 iPad Pro. This happens because they changed the charging system on the iPad Air and the iPad Pro because of the horizontal position of the camera. I think they made the Apple Pencil charging system smaller and a bit thinner because, again, it needs to fit on the thinner chassis, but also because of the camera placement. If this is true, then that's the reason that Apple actually does not support the 2nd generation Apple Pencil on the new iPad Pros. So if you are like me, you have this old generation Apple Pencil, the 2nd generation, and the 2018 iPad Pro, you have to buy both accessories for both iPads. The microphone and speaker system are also different. The iPad Pro features a 4-speaker system, a quad speaker system, and a 4-microphone array for Pro audio support. But the iPad Air features what is called a stereo speaker system. What's the difference, you ask? Well, the iPad Pro features a quad speaker system. They have 2 speakers on each side, one right here, one right here, one right here, and one right here. So the production of the sound is a bit better, a bit more true to life. It's almost like spatial audio, creates a more immersive feeling audio. Other than that, you have a better microphone system on the iPad Pro, which is called stereo microphone system or Pro microphone system, while the iPad has the normal microphone just included. So the iPad Pro is more like the MacBook Pro in terms of hardware, while the iPad Air is more like the MacBook Air. But in essence, they do the same because of iPadOS. So at the end of the day, are you willing to spend more money on better hardware that you can actually not utilize? That's your decision. For me, I really enjoy OLED, I really enjoy the thin design, and I really enjoy the new Magic Keyboard. So I will upgrade for the M4 iPad Pro. But let me know in the comments below which of these devices would you choose. Thank you guys for watching. This has been TechSmart talking to you here. Bye bye.